Here's a tip. If you find yourself locked in a room full of demonically possessed artifacts, maybe don't touch everything and awaken a bunch of evil spirits. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Luke's Reviews, and on today's video I'll be reviewing Annabelle Comes Home, which is the third Annabelle movie and is yet another entry into the Conjuring universe. Set moments after we see the Warren seize Annabelle, a scene from the original Conjuring film, she is now secured in the Warrens' artifact room. However, when their daughter is left alone along with her babysitter and a friend, Annabelle is unleashed, bringing to life a whole host of demons within this house. So, the Annabelle series, it's had its ups and it's had its downs. I think the first Annabelle is an unmitigated train wreck. It isn't scary in the slightest, it is full of plot holes, it has no logic, the acting is terrible, it's woefully directed, it's a mess of a film. However, to the surprise of us all in the summer of 2017, Annabelle Creation came out, and that turned out to be one of the best films in this Conjuring universe, directed by David F. Sandberg, who impressed the year before with Lights Out, and he really took hold of this concept with Annabelle and the possessed doll and how she's able to awaken other spirits in close range, and he runs with it. There are numerous set pieces that aren't just kind of scary, but they're tension filled, they're suspenseful, and it is an enjoyable horror film at the same time. But as of late, the Conjuring universe, the quality of the films, it hasn't been fantastic. Because last year we had The Nun, and that was one of my least favourite films of 2018. And then earlier this year you had The Curse of La Llorona, and it was okay. It was very middle of the road, nothing amazing, nothing special. And then you have Annabelle Comes Home, which... The trailers didn't really wow me with this film. It looked fairly simplistic. It looked like it was just a generic take on a haunted house scenario with Annabelle controlling all of these demons inside the Warrens' artifact room and how they then seep out into the house. But it did just strike me as a cheap ploy of how to set up numerous spin-off films in the process. And I'm not saying that I'm psychic, but I was right. Annabelle Comes Home is neither good nor is it really terrible. It's just kind of flat, and you wonder why this film was really made in the first place. It's directed by Gary Dauberman, who, in all fairness, has had his fingers in a lot of pies when it comes to the big horror films within the last few years. He wrote the screenplay for Annabelle Creation, as well as the screenplay for Stephen King's It. He's also written It Chapter 2 that comes out later this year, so it's very clear that he's a talented writer. Unfortunately, he has also written a few stinkers. He wrote the first Annabelle, which, like I said, weren't great, and he wrote The Nun, which, like I said, weren't great. He has clearly learnt from past collaborators such as James Wan and Andy Muschietti, and he knows how to successfully create a suspenseful atmosphere and prolong that tension. But the issue with it is that even though he has a cool potential with this haunted house scenario, he just has a lot of trouble with his climax.
That's what she said!
It's not really that scary. I noted that about 45 minutes in, nothing had happened. Nothing of note, really. Annabelle had kind of done a bunch of spooky stuff, but nothing major had happened, and we only had about another 45, maybe 50 minutes left, and I was like, this really needs to get going. The scares themselves, though, they're typically signposted, either with a character standing in view of a mirror and something blocking their view, and then they see something behind them, and you think, right, I saw that coming. Or they're standing in front of a door, and the door is swinging, and it's blocking a view, and then it's opening the view up, and then you're like, oh, it's going to block it, and then as it opens up, yes, there's something standing behind the door, and it's the same scares over and over again that you begin to predict what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, where it's going to happen. The design of the demons as well, they aren't anywhere near as interesting and creative as we've seen in the past. For example, my favourite creature design was the Crooked Man that we see in The Conjuring 2, mostly because a lot of that is practical by a guy named Javier Botet, who is able to really like contort his body into unnatural ways, and the design of that character I thought was fantastic. But here you're just going for very generic sort of demon face ghoulish creatures. One demon in particular, which is kind of like a werewolf, looks ridiculous, and clearly they didn't have the budget to create a CGI werewolf, and it just looks silly because all the demons feel rushed. There's no real thought process behind it. It's just trying to put out as many sort of demons as possible that we can make a spin-off of eventually, and it's lazy. And the characters, some of them are fine. One in particular, she is insanely moronic. She kind of has her own storyline and reasons for the things that she does, but wow, she is dumb and really unlikable because of it. McKenna Grace, who plays the Warrens' daughter, I quite liked her. I think she's a very promising young actress. Her best performance was in a film called Gifted with Chris Evans, and I think she absolutely shines in that film. In this, she's fine. She's just your typical horror movie child, although you can definitely tell that she's starting to have similar experiences that her mother experienced when she was a child. The other characters, like I said, they're all right, but they're not even close to that level that we saw from Talitha Bateman and Lulu Wilson in Annabelle Creation. They don't even begin to scratch at that door. There's also an entire love high school crush story that I could have completely done without. It tries an attempt at comedy that falls flat on its face. And the central crux of this story, it just lacks creativity. Annabelle gets out the box, so we have to put her back in the box, and all the demons want to stop us from putting Annabelle back in the box. And this is by no means a Conjuring movie either. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga have the most minute roles in this film. They appear very briefly at the beginning of the film, and they appear very, very briefly at the end of the film. There isn't much else to say in regards to Annabelle Comes Home. It's a premise that may have been entertaining for a 20-minute short, but it drastically loses steam in a feature-length film. There is a significant amount of tension, however, there are hardly any scares. All in all, apart from just to set up a few spin-offs, I can't see any reason for this film existing. Overall, I'm going to give Annabelle Comes Home a 4 out of 10. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Annabelle Comes Home. If you've seen the film already, let me know what you thought in the comments below, as well as my question to you. What do you think is the creepiest demon within the Conjuring universe? Thanks for watching! Let me know what you thought of this film down in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. The links to all of my social media accounts are in the description below. Many thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you in the next video.